So the first presentation will be given by Victor Reis, and the title of his presentation is Sliman, a web server to analyze protein-protein interaction mediated by short linear motifs. Victor, if you could share your screen.
Yes, can you see me?
Yes.
I will try now to share my screen. And okay. Okay, great. So hello everyone, my name is Victor Reis. I'm a second year PhD student, and I'm very happy today to be able to start this new Jobim session on structural bioinformatics and be able to talk about the latest tool we developed using structural bioinformatics to analyze interactomic data. So first, I have to talk about the kind of data set we are dealing with. So in our case, we are dealing with protein-protein interactions. So if we look at the structural information that is available in the protein data bank, we have first the 3D interactions involving two domains, domain-domain interaction, for example, in the hemoglobin, which are more structured and stable complexes. And we also have another kind of interaction which involve 1D, 3D or motif domain, which involve a small motif bound to a domain. We have to know that this kind of interaction are more rare and more difficult to analyze, and so there is less information. If we get a deeper look at the different methods that can bring us information on protein-protein interaction, of course, on the left, we have the method that can bring us information about atomic resolution, for example, the X-ray crystallography or the NMR, the cryo-EM. We also have the ultra-analytical centrifugation, the SAXS. We have the two hybrid assay, which gives us, which is specialized on binary interactions. And we have also the colocalization, proximity ligation assay. And on the right, we have a bunch of other experimental methods like communiprecipitation, affinity capture, co-fractionalization, usually coupled with mass spectrometry. And what we have to know with this is that expected from the atomic resolution method, we usually have a loss of the physical interaction, and we don't know how they interact. What happened next is that we have specialized database on protein-protein interactions like the BioGrid or INTACT database that are holding more than 1 million interactions and share only 50% of them. So in this presentation, I will focus on the analysis of a specific network involving FRET2 and its partners. So for this, we queried FRET2 on a BioGrid server and retrieved all the interactants that are found, including GSK3 beta and XPO1. And then we tested those interactants in a protein-protein interaction web server, very known like String or the Proteo3DNet, which I was involved in, what was published this year, and also Interactome 3D. So in Interactome 3D, we can see that our main target, FRET2, is not directly bound neither to GSK3 beta or XPO1. GSK3 beta is found interacting with itself, and XPO1 with ERB beta. If we go to Proteo3DNet, this time we can find a domain-domain interaction from GSK3 beta to FRET1, and XPO1 is still found alone from this, still interacting with ERB beta. And we get the same result from String. So if we try to analyze the translocation of GSK3 beta from the nucleus to the cytoplasm, we have a small answer, a beginning of answer from String and Proteo3DNet, which says that they are GSK3 beta and FRET2 are somehow linked. And this is good because actually the function of FRET2 is defined as GSK3 beta binding protein. So for now, so far so good. We also have a special mention to Proteo3DNet, which is able to bring us a homology model of the interaction of the complex. But why can't we answer the and the question, how can GSK3 beta be translocated from nucleus to cytoplasm? For now, we cannot, because those analyses are limited to domain-domain interactions, and they are limited, and they're missing the SLIM domain interaction. So now I have to talk about short linear motifs, also called SLIMs. And first I have to introduce, of course, the database we are relying on, the eukaryotic linear motif database, which is our reference database for SLIM, and in which they took many publications and generated a set of 283 linear motif classes defined by the regular expression that allows us to parse the sequence and retrieve it. Also the motif e-value, meaning the probability to find the motif on by chance the motif on a sequence, and of course the domain, the PFAM domain, which the motif should interact, identified by the PFAM ID. And for some of the classes, we also have information about post-translational modification. So if we query a protein on the ELM server, we get a bunch of prediction of all the motifs along the sequence. And usually for a human protein, we get more than 270 motifs, which is quite a lot, especially if we are dealing with many proteins. So what we can do is, because we know that motifs are usually found on a disordered region part, external loops or linkers, we can use disorder prediction software like Medusa that was presented, I think, earlier in Jobim. But in our case, we use EUPRED2. And if we apply the common threshold 0.5, we can dramatically reduce the number of motifs that we get. We can also add supplementary information with the annotation with the post-translational modification coming from Phosphocyte Plus, for example, and which allows us to annotate many proteins, and especially for human proteins. So if we query the same protein on those three web servers, we can get a very graphical result for ELM, all the motif along the sequence, same for EUPRED, the disorder predictions along the sequence, and for Phosphocyte Plus, the post-translational modification along the sequence. So for now, it's quite difficult for our brain to mix all those three data together, and especially if we have other proteins. So this is why we developed SLIMAN, standing for a short linear motif analysis. And this is a new web server to discover physical interaction by SLIMs at an atomic detail within subproteins. And now I will detail a little bit the workflow that we will use. So in the workflow starts obviously by a list of protein of a possible interactant, and then we will proceed to the hit prediction using the ELM database to find all the motifs, and then we pair them with the PFAMs, and we also add supplementary information with EUPRED for the disorder prediction, Phosphocyte Plus for the post-translational modification, and also we count the number of interactions found in BioGrid. This leads us to have a list of potential interactions. And then with this, we can proceed to the sequence to structure alignments using PDB templates and appropriate software like BLAST or MAFT. And using the alignments and the templates, we can then proceed to the homology modeling using Squirrel tree to generate model and to predict the physical interaction. So if we go to our analysis of the FRAT2 network, we can proceed to the same procedure. We retrieve all the 13 FRAT2 interactant, and then we flush it to SLIMAN to analyze it in the 3 different steps. First, the potential interactions, then the sequence to structure alignment, and then the homology modeling. So in the first part, we get a table. On the left, we have all the analysis from ELM with all the class that could be retrieved from the list and all the motifs on the sequence, and of course, its location on the sequence and the regular expression that could allow us to retrieve it. Those motifs are paired in front of the PFAM domains of the same list, of course. And in the table, we have all the predicted hits that are paired, and they are colored by the confidence level depending on the motif e-value, the disorder prediction scores, and the total BioGrid interactions. we also provide a parameter panel to allow the user to play with different kinds of parameters. For example, they can play with the motif e-value or the different class they want to see. They can fine-tune the disorder predictions using EUPRED, or also the number of interactions that must be involved with high throughput or low throughput or total interaction found. And there are also some specialized parameters from Slimane, the confidence level, the number of templates available, and the number of models generated. In our case, we are interested in this particular motif, the NES motif from FRAT2 interacting with the XPO1. So in this, we have the hit, and we can simply click the alignments to go to the alignment section. In this section, we have a recap of the motif extracted from the ELM on the FRAT2 sequence. We also have the domain segmentation performed by PFAM on the XPO1. And of course, we have all the sequence to structure alignments with closely related templates extracted from the protein data bank. So we can eventually modify the domain segmentation if it was not performed well automatically or not well defined in PFAM. And once we have done this, we can select the suitable templates, for example, by sorting by identity, and select a template for the homology modeling and proceed it with scroll. So in the last step, we generate the model, of course, and we can visualize it. So in this case, we generated the model of FRAT2 NES motif interacting with XPO1. And indeed, this model is validated by two experimental methods, one with directed mutagenesis on FRAT1, on key residues that are involved in the interactions, and another experiment that say that a key residue involved in the interaction is also involved in a chronic lymphocytic leukemia. So with this validation, we can now draw a new line between FRAT2 and XPO1. If we go back now to our initial question, which was how GSK3 beta is translocated from nucleus to cytoplasm, we had the first answer coming from the domain-domain interaction of GSK3 beta binding to FRAT2. But now with Slimane, we have supplementary information, and we can model the interaction of FRAT2 with XPO1, which is indeed an exportin, and now we can understand how GSK3 beta can be translocated from nucleus to cytoplasm. So with this, I will conclude with that Slimane is a great complementary tool to other protein-protein interaction web server, as it is specialized in the analysis of interactomic networks mediated by short linear motif. It processes predictions, structural alignments, and comparative modeling in very few clicks, in few seconds, and it brings structural information to the slim domain interactions. So why would you use Slimane? For example, if you want to perform directed mutagenesis, you can rapidly identify the key residues that are involved in the interaction and then mutate them. And it is the same for drug design, as we rapidly identify the binding site, and we can develop any kind of peptidomimetics or simply try to fit a drug inside. So with this, I have to thank all the structure involved, obviously la Ligue Nationale contre le Cancer for funding my PhD grant, and the University of Montpellier et le Centre de Biologie Structurale for hosting me. And of course, the very few people involved in this project, Gilles Labesse, my director thesis, for his nice ideas, Guillaume Charifi for our Master 1 student, and Jean-Luc Pons for the hardware survey. Now, I hope I was able to convince you that Slimane is a great tool for the analysis of a protein-protein interaction mediated by short linear motif. Once again, the URL of the web server is displayed in front of your screen in the middle. And if you have more questions, my address is on the bottom right. And now I'm open for a few questions orally.
Thank you, Victor, for this nice presentation. So we have already one question from Romain Gauthier. So you use STWL3 as a tool to predict sidechain conformation, but not the backbone. So how do you modelize the backbone structure on your protein-protein interactions?
Okay, so the backbone are kept fixed. In fact, we are taking templates from the protein data bank, which already contains peptides interacting with a domain. So of the same PFAM domain. So we keep the backbone stable, and then we only rearrange the side chains.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Victor? No, I have one question. So you mentioned rapidly at the end the opportunity to use this tool for drug design. Could it be also used for designing peptides that could modulate protein-protein interaction?
Yeah, of course. Yes, this is the current project now. Now that we developed this tool, we are looking for collaboration and for the design of peptides. Yes, there are many. We have already ANR project running on this tool, and we hope to be able to design very rapidly peptides. Yes, and this is but. We are more in the informatic field, so we have to find collaboration to design the peptides, of course. This is our limitation for now.
Yeah. We have another question from Juliette Martin. Will you use protein-protein docking? So I mean, instead of using already known templates?
Yes, so protein-protein docking, yes, this is one of the solutions that we are trying to find, because I have supplementary data here. So if during our extraction from the protein data bank, so we generate all the possible motif and PFAM association possible, and then we extract all those data from the protein data bank. And you can see on the right that for 200 association, we have templates, and we are still missing almost 1/3 of the possible interactions. So maybe the solution can come obvious maybe from the extraction, because we are limited to the regular expression, and maybe we can extend it a little bit to find peptides that are maybe close to a request. This is work going on now, but yes, docking is obviously a good solution for those cases, but we did not implement it yet, and we did not implement it yet. Okay. It's for the future.
Yeah. And we have one last question. Someone from Nancy saying that a way to predict PPI is to infer PPI from domain-domain interaction. Could Sliman be used to validate domain-domain interaction when there is no experimental evidence for them?
No. Sliman is a short linear motif analysis. So we are specialized in the analysis of interaction of motif with a domain. For domain-domain interaction, it is other web servers that are more specialized in this. And for now, it is not included in Sliman, even if in the future version it will be. But for now, not yet.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no more questions, we'll thank Victor again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll move to our next presentation.